Alright everyone, welcome back. Now in today's episode I want to be talking about micropayments, and in particular we're going to be focusing on the concept of nanopayments, which is possible when we operate in the crypto space. And so just to clarify what I'm talking about here, when we refer to a micropayment, it often refers to a small sum of money occurring in the online space. This is not a new concept. The proposal has been around since the 1960s, and the definition of what a micropayment varies from case to case, but we can be talking about the $1 mark all the way up to the $10 mark. And so there's different definitions depending on the different services out there as to how much a micropayment can charge, as in what is the maximum threshold a micropayment consists of. And so there's different definitions floating around depending on which system you're using, but micropayments can range from a maximum value of $1, but we have examples such as PayPal that would define a micropayment as a transaction less than £5, so around the $7 mark. Whereas if you look at the likes of Visa, they define a transaction under 20 Australian dollars. So we're dealing with different currencies here, but there's a wide spectrum in terms of what that maximum threshold is for a micropayment. And in terms of the history, we can see that the term was defined by Ted Nielsen. This was long before the invention of the World Wide Web. It was actually envisioned to have even smaller fractions of a cent, such as 0.0001 cents, all the way up to a few cents. The issue that we're seeing in the space of micropayments is that whenever you perform a transaction, whether it will be on PayPal or that of Stripe, the issue is that those transaction fees normally range from the 5 cent or the 30 cent mark. And so as a user who's trying to create these micropayments, you're going to have to either absorb that cost or pass that cost onto the client. And so whichever the fee structure you're dealing with, that becomes the minimum amount to break even, and then you can charge at a value higher. And so these micropayments aren't really working exactly how they were intended to be, and that's what leads us onto the concept of nanopayments. And so nanopayments allow us to operate with decimal precision, and that means that we can charge a fraction of a cent or a pence. And this is all possible because we're working in the realm of the crypto space. And so different services out there operate with different blockchain technologies, and a lot of those have little to no transaction fees. If we look at the likes of Bitcoin or Ethereum, there's actually really large transaction fees. And so if we map a chart of the transaction fees for Bitcoin, we can see that it fluctuates because it's based on the different demand. And so when there's a lot of settlements to be made, the fee generally increases. But we can see the current settlement price is $1.58. That's still too high, and we can't really use Bitcoin as the underlying mechanism. Equally, if we take a look at Ethereum, we can see that in times when there's large spikes in the demand, the cost in USD has once peaked at $23. That's even worse than the micropayments that we see with standard fiat currencies that operate and with services such as PayPal and Stripe. But we can see at the time recording a price that's been pretty constant throughout the last year at 0.6 cents. Again, still too high to be classified as a nano payment. And that's why there are different technologies out there, one of which I want to take a look at is that of Nano. There is an associated crypto coin that you can invest in, and we'll be taking a look at that shortly. But more importantly, we can see that Nano is one of a few companies out there that can be operated without the associated fees when settling the transaction. So we can see here 0 fees. There's no cost when sending Nano, making it a truly global payment system. There's no concept of mining, minting, and so in terms of being sustainable, it's an eco-friendly approach. We have the likes of Ethereum that has begun the process of transitioning to a proof of stake mechanism, but we have Nano already built with the sustainable approach in mind. And in terms of payments arriving, they are instant. You don't have to wait several days, which can happen when you're dealing with a large transaction amount. For those wondering, there is a developer section on the screen here, how you can actually use Nano and build out any projects if you're developer focused. But if you just want to invest into this type of technology, then you have access to the crypto. Current price is at 80 cents, and we can see if we look at the last year performance, it's fluctuated all the way up to the $2.8 mark, and so a large sell-off there. But when we look at different cryptos, you can look at the type of momentum trading and buy into the coin. But more importantly, if there's an actual use case, then that's a strong argument to buy into the coin and back like it that way. So I do think this is very exciting, and given the practical use case that allows you to buy into Nano and send payments instantly with a fraction of the cost that traditional banking systems supply, I do think this is a really interesting coin, one of which I've purchased a very small amount, but it's one I'm going to be keeping a close eye on in the future. And so let me know in the comments below, will you be planning in buying into Nano or using their service to build a product for Web3? Let me know in the comments below. Thanks everyone who is subscribed and supports this channel. New videos are posted each week, and with that said, I'll catch you in the next one.